What's going on, guys? Today we have another deck profile. This is going to be Earthbound Dogmatika. I'm not sure how many other people run this, but it actually has some pretty cool synergy. We're going to go ahead and just get things started with three Side Reflectors. Side Reflectors give for um, any synchro deck that doesn't require like specific things or that doesn't lock you down to anything. This one just allows you to add an assault mode or a card that mentions assault mode activate, which is just going to be your assault beast. Beast can ditch itself to the graveyard so that it can get the one assault mode activate. One thing to know about this is that if you get this in your starting hand, which I have done so much recently, it gets ridiculous as a one of, and it's just always in my hand. But if it is in your hand, you can't actually pitch the assault beast, so that kind of sucks. Anyway, when the assault beast is in the graveyard, you can activate this. You can activate this effect to show the assault mode activate, and then once you show it, you can target this to special summon it, and then increase its level by 1 to 4. So it's either going to be a level 5 or a level 8. It's not optional to increase level, unfortunately, so you can't go into any like synchro 5 plays. That doesn't really matter. Either go into Earthbound Servant Geo Gremlin, which is level 6, so you just increase it by 1, or you're going to go into Earthbound Servant Geo Griffin, which is level 8, so you increase it by 3. Unfortunately, you can't increase it by 5, so you can go into a Baron Duel or anything like that, but it's fine. I'm not even sure if, honestly, this is even possible to summon. I just have it in here just because I have it, and I'm not sure what else to put in here. But yeah, we're going to explain what these do here in just a second. Next, you have Earthbound Prisoner Groundkeeper. Run this at 3. Whenever you normal summon it, you can special summon the level 5. Level 5 doesn't do anything on the field, but it is just level 5 and level 1 to go into Gremlin. Unfortunately, they don't have any searchable level 7, so you can't go into Geo Griffin, which does happen to, like you do want it sometimes, but not all the time. So yeah, it's just an easy way to get to it. The level 5 does allow it to discard itself to add the level 1. Once you add the level 1, you can then just special summon the level 5 out of the graveyard or hand, or graveyard or deck. Alright, next, I already talked about Assault Beast. You have Dogmatika Alba. If there's a monster that was special summoned from the extra deck on the field, you can special summon it. Then once card is normal or special summoned, you can grab a Dogmatika card from your hand or from your deck, so you can to your hand. Usually people run punishment, but this deck does like special summon from the extra deck, so I don't do that. As it would just lock you out of the extra deck for your turn as well. For level 5, again, it can discard itself out of level 1, but if there is a field spell on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand, though I don't really see why you would want to do that since this special summons it anyways. Then I'm running 1 Dogmatika Fleur-de-Lis. This is, just for the free special summon and possible negate, depending on if you have a Dogmatika card on in the field. Usually I do, but it's happened where I haven't had one. As for the Earthbound Immortal monsters, I am running Asala Piscu. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't actually read these. All I know is like them by their artwork, which I think is okay. This one's effect is if this face of card leaves the field, except due to its own effect. So if you if you tribute it off, or if you use Forbidden Droplet, that accounts as well. You can destroy as many face-up monsters your opponent controls as possible. If you do inflict 800 damage to your opponent for each monster destroyed, so that's pretty cool. You negate an effect, and then just immediately just start popping everything. That's a really cool effect. Unfortunately, I do not have I don't have Forbidden Droplet on this, so if it's getting removed, it's getting removed by a by opponent's effect. Next, you have Earthbound Immortal Kappa Apu. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. Now, the cool thing about Earthbound rolls is that each one of them can attack your opponent directly. They can't be attacked unless their effect is negated by anything. And it is cool that this one has even if you don't want to attack directly, you can still do a lot of damage. Anyway, after that, you have Cthulhu. No, Shahu. I don't know how to spell. I don't know how to pronounce these names. This one you can just do 1200 burn damage. You can inflict equal. You can inflict to your opponent equal to its defense. You can attack its turn. It's activated. And if this card is in defense mode, your opponent cannot activate or cannot conduct their battle phase. So ideally, you would put this to the graveyard and then special summon it off of Geo Griffin, which has a quick effect to special summon one Earthbound monster from the graveyard. So that's kind of cool. Next, you have this alien-looking guy. If this card is destroyed by a card effect except by its own, you can destroy all cards in the field. The only thing I can think of for this is maybe you want to run Dark Hole, but seeing as how these are all level 10s, I don't know if that's necessarily the best thing, right? Because you're already consuming so many resources to actually get here or get to this and use Dark Hole your field. That's your turn done. So yeah, that's not the best. But that's it for the Earthbound cards, Earthbound monsters, anyways. For the rituals, we have White Relic, which all this does is, if this card is ritual summoned, you can target 2 face-up monsters on the field. Make one of those monsters gain attack equal to the other's attack. Ideally, what you want to do is go to Alba Zoa, and then go into Dogmatika. And that way you have a 4000 attack Alba Zoa, and 4500 attack White Relic. Its other effect is if a monster special summon from the extra deck, you can target, or you can look at your opponent's extra deck, and then send one card from there to the graveyard. So that's kind of cool. Next, you have just Alba Zoa. Dogmatika cards, where Dogmatika monsters you control are unaffected by your opponent's fusion, synchro, exes, or link monsters. So basically the whole extra deck. Pendulums, that's something different. So I believe these will still be affected. But you can also activate this effect. Well, your opponent applies what effects it wants to be applied. For every 2 cards in your extra deck, you can send 1 card from your hand or extra deck to the graveyard. Or return all fusion, synchro, exes, and link monsters you control to the extra deck. So you can either make them bounce all of their stuff, or make them send a bunch of cards to the graveyard, depending on what they have. Now, it is kind of risky, especially if you're playing against Branded, because they like stuff going to the graveyard, or if they have Intis. But Intis will only affect the Earthbound Immortal cards, which I didn't talk about this, but the Groundkeeper, if there's a face-up field spell on the field, Earthbound monsters can't be destroyed by a battle or card effect. So if it's an Intis, that won't really do anything, so it's fine. I'm running 2 Nadir Servant. You can run this at 3. I just ran it at 2 because I only have 2, honestly, but it doesn't really do all that much. All you get to do is send 1 monster from your extra deck to the graveyard, then add 1 Dogmatika monster to your hand. Ecclesia is really good for that. But if you don't have it, you can just do, White Relic or anything else. Ecclesia can then get Dogmatika Matrix. Matrix, when it's activated, you can add 1 Dogmatika ritual monster or spell from your deck to your hand. Then if your opponent controls a monster, you can add 1 Dogmatika card from your deck to your hand. And then once per turn, so this is not a hard once per turn, it's soft once per turn. If you control a Dogmatika ritual monster, you can look at either player's extra deck and send 1 monster from it to the graveyard. Alright, next we can go ahead and talk about the field spell, because I skipped a couple, but I really wanted to talk about the Matrix. You have, when you activate this card, you can target 1 effect monster on the field. That card cannot activate, or its effects are negated while it's on the field, so that's kind of cool. You can also make a second normal summon of an Earthbound monster in addition to your normal summon. And if this card is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and you have an Earthbound monster in your field or on your graveyard, on your field or in the graveyard, have your opponent's life points, and if you do, negate the effects of all face-up monsters on the field that your opponent, or face-up cards on the field your opponent currently controls. Until the end of the turn. So it's not permanent, but it can definitely slow some stuff down, especially if they don't read it. But like, people don't really see this, so they definitely take a look at it. And then for the ritual spells, I actually like the Dogmatika ritual spells. With Calamity, you can send monsters from your extra deck equal to the level of the monster you're summoning, or you can send 1 monster from the extra deck, so it has to be level 4 or level 12 if you want to summon anything, respectively. If you summon White Relic or Alba Zoa, and then you can special summon it. The cool thing is that if you're level 4, like Herald of Arclight, as a graveyard effect, that works too. You have Dogmatika Combre, which Dogmatika, this thing. It's the same. It's pretty much the same thing, except you can banish extra deck monsters from your graveyard too. So they kind of combo off. This is really good tech for this deck specifically. Because if you see it, you have some monster negates. You have just like not affected by extra deck monsters. They are really susceptible to like back row decks. So Forbidden Lance will make it so that you can't be like Darkhold or Raigeki or let's just take Labyrinth. They can't use the Big Welcome Labyrinth to bounce your monsters. Can't do that because it's unaffected if you use this. So that's pretty cool. Now, I did have a chance to actually do this, and I just stupidly didn't. I just had this face down, and for whatever reason, I was just like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to use Forbidden Lance. They Darkhold me, and I didn't use this as a reaction, so I was like, oh, great. Because I wasn't used to having like any type of protection. So this is very important, for at least in my opinion. Then I'm just running the 2 called bys. Book of Lunar Eclipse, so I can target 2 face-up monsters flipping face down. Yeah, it is what it is. And then 2 Infinite Impermanents. I do have 3 of these, but I want a 40-card deck, so I'm just running 2. And then I have Fossil Warrior Skull Knights. If I send a monster from my extra deck to the graveyard, I can just banish this to pop a card. It's Intis at home. I don't have Intis, so this is what I have. Then I have Skull Wagon, which is the same thing except for spell traps. And then Gremlina. We've already said what it does. Kind of. Actually, no, never mind. If this card special summon, you can add 1 Earthbound monster from your deck to your hand. You can target 1 Dark Synchro monster you control. It can attack directly this turn. If a monster your opponent controls is destroyed by a Earthbound card effect, you can target 1 of those monsters. Inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. That's never going to happen. This is mostly just fodder, so you can special summon the big guy. Next, you have Kraken. If this card special summon, you can add 1 field spell from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So this can search any field spell. That's cool. I didn't read that. I only use it for Earthbound Prison. I may think that over, but honestly, prison's pretty good. It's a negate and potential half your opponent's life points, so that's not too bad. Um, but if a monster shows something from your opponent's extra deck, you can destroy as many monsters your opponent controls as possible. That were special on this turn if you do inflict 800 damage for each of those monsters. So if they don't have a way to out this, you can just pop whatever they summon, which is kind of cool. Next you have Geo-Gresha, which this is the big one. Really, really cool. Must be fusion summon. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a monster, change that monster attack to 0. If a monster your opponent can you're in your opponent's possession is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy all monsters. All cards your opponent controls. If this face-up card in its owner's control leaves the field because of an opponent's card, you can start summon one Earthbound monster from your deck or extra deck. If this goes to the graveyard, that's pretty much it for Earthbounds. Because while you can get like an attack directly, which is cool, this will destroy everything. If anything gets destroyed by a card effect, your opponent's monsters get destroyed by a card effect or battle. So if this goes to the graveyard, then like you don't really have that big of a payoff for it. But anyway, Haravel Arclight, you put it to the graveyard. It gives you a ritual spell or ritual monster. Drio Gremlin. That's why it tripped me up. This is Gremlina. This is Gremlin. Quick effect during the main phase, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Your opponent chooses one of the effects to apply. You can either gain life points or gain life points either equal to the opponent's attack, or destroy the monster. This will not work if something's unaffected and they say destroy it. That's not counting them as destroying it. It's still destroying it as this card's effect, so it won't work. But the best part is the secondary effect. During the battle phase, quick effect, you can fusion summon one Earthbound fusion monster using monsters from your hand, field, or graveyard as material. That's the reason why this deck works so well with it. So you can ditch one of the other two fusions, and then you instantly have a Geo-Gresha. Issue with this is that you have to survive either until your next turn, or your opponent has to not read this card and not be able to negate it during the battle phase. So, not likely, but it will work if all the stipulations are met. And then if you can summon this, then you pretty much survive until the next turn. Then I have Biels of the Diabolic Dragons. Can't be destroyed by card effects. If you take damage from an attack or from an opponent's card effect, you can gain, or this card gains attack equal to the damage you took. I actually did this against a Trickstar deck. I still lost, right? Because this card can be outed by like Banish, Bounce, Send, anything like that. So it's not like great. But they kept on like, I think I had to like chain link 12 because they kept on burning me. It was very funny. Then Griffin special summon one Earthbound monster from the graveyard in defense mode. If this card in your zone's possession is destroyed by opponent's card, you can destroy one card on the field, then inflict 300 damage to your opponent for each Earthbound monster with a different name in your field or grave. Next, Brown to Floor. Not going to summon it. Geomathmech Final Sigma. Not summoning it. It's only there for the Dogmatic Calamity. But that is the extra. That's the whole deck. Let me know what you guys think. This deck has had varying success. Ash Blossom definitely sucks for this deck. I mean, just like it does for everything. But it will stop both Psyreflector and Earthbound and Ecclesia. So if you don't have any follow up in your hand, then you kind of can't really do anything. You don't really want to get Matrix on the field on the first turn because you can't search 2 cards. But yeah, this is just a very fun deck. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below.